Hello and welcome to A Few Minutes With. Today we're speaking to Scott Reitano, Principal of Reitano Design Group in Indianapolis. Scott is going to talk to us about distributed dining, which is dining scattered throughout a food service facility. Hi Scott, can you tell us what kind of food service facility distributed dining works in?
So distributed dining, and I love this terminology in a high school setting. I was part of a group that did a presentation recently on this, and the administrator, the assistant principal in this case, said we have an internal open campus. In other words, this high school is 4 to 5 thousand students, and they have opened it up across the whole high school. So, yep, here's the main dining space, but there's other venues throughout the school. So K-12 certainly, and I'll come back to that in terms of a little depth of that particular marketplace, but also in higher ed. I mean, that's distributed dining for a higher ed facility now. Yes, dining halls all over the place, of course. But as we watch Gen Z in college and Gen Alpha, quite frankly, right behind them, I know your daughter's a freshman in high school. She's the front edge of Gen Alpha, actually. And those kids are asking to eat more often, not necessarily 3 meals a day, but maybe grazing, as they call it. Snacking is what you and I would call it. So higher ed is looking at what does distributed dining look like, and even how their meal plans look, act, and feel. Workplace dining, where we're using food as an amenity, so to speak. Like, how do we bring people back to the office, or what's it look like, feel like to work the third shift in a manufacturing facility? So putting the opportunity for food and nourishment closer to people, and setting up almost a commons area or a cafe kind of setting, where I call it incidental contact, where Bob from accounting ran into, Tina from, manufacturing, and they had a conversation that they needed to have, but maybe wouldn't have had as easily. And so that's workplace dining. And we're working on a very large hospital project in Indianapolis. And believe it or not, distributed dining in that sense, certainly room service has been like the originator of distributed dining, if you will. But even amongst the staff, if you're someone working on the 16th floor of this 864 bed hospital, I think it is, if you're working on the south end of the building, are you sure you're going to spend your whole lunch period, so to speak, your time getting to the designated, here's where the staff eats? And so distributed dining as a whole looks, acts, and feels different, but it's all about how do we put this amenity closer to the folks that are using it, and then how do we turn that into hospitality when it's in that setting?
And Scott, are there certain locations within a food service facility where these work best? You said close to people, and do they also need to be close to a kitchen?
So definitely, and it's interesting. We were literally having this conversation yesterday with a client. You need a central hub, if you will, or a production kitchen, as we like to say. But what's really, again, let's go back to where we're going in trends of food. Of the two fastest growing categories are handheld and beverages. And certainly, so do I need to be close to the kitchen? Everybody's definition of close is different. We did a distributed dining model for in the Chicagoland area for a school district, where they didn't go to one central kitchen. They have three throughout the district. You're going to cover these three schools. You're going to handle these three schools. You're going to handle those. But the cool part is, from an equipment standpoint, I mean, clearly the mission's always the same. We want fresh food, and it needs to look, act, and feel that way. Hot's got to be hot, cold's got to be cold. So the advancements isn't like where we can't do it or how close I need to be, but what equipment ends up on the other end. And we have opportunities now. You could go ventless on anything from a combi oven to a speed oven. Refrigeration is a part of this. Cook chill is not just for big vats and throw the bag in the ice and all of that, but making sure food quality is what it is the win. And you know, anytime you walk away from an attached servery to a kitchen space, you are now in the congratulations, you're now distributed dining. So paying attention to the food quality, whether it's an internal open campus, or it's several different facilities, or it's a very large facility, it matters. Food quality is the number one thing. So it doesn't have to be attached, for sure.
So what kind of labor do these facilities require? Can they be unmanned? Do they need a stocker, a cashier, a cook?
There are times you're going to want it attended, if you will, like someone's in place. but gosh, either there's unattended and the buffet's out and someone's going to come back and take care of it at the end of a period of time. There's also autonomous retail. Amazon Go. It is so funny to watch some videos of people that are walking out of an Amazon Go and like, am I about to get arrested? Like, did I do that right? But autonomous retail is on the rise, and even down to some of our, and I love the innovation that I'm seeing out of even some of our air curtain merchandiser friends that, man, if you pick that product off and go, no, I don't really want that, and put it back on the wrong shelf, oh, that's a red light flashing at you. So that's real mobile order pickup. Like even if it's an extended manufacturing facility, if they could order ahead on their app on an app and just go to a food locker and pick it up, that counts. That's distributed dining for sure. I think that all depends on what's the environment we're trying to build around it, and what's that transaction look like. But I don't think we're limited in any way, shape, or form at this point in time. And if you're going to go 24/7 or go extended hours, I think autonomous retail is big part of what that looks like moving forward. And I really don't want to end our conversation without mentioning this. There's a mental health aspect of this. When I mentioned the internal open campus, and I was speaking specifically about a high school, but this could go into all the other places that I mentioned. Not everybody wants to eat in a big crowd, or maybe they want to, I call it dining on the shelf. They just want to sit and decompress. Their phone might come out, or maybe it doesn't come out and they're just relaxing. So those different opportunities, I think distributed dining at the heart of it is, how do we make this something that, depending on where you are mental health wise that day, where you are workload that day, that you have opportunities and options for hospitality and nutrition all wrapped into one. So that would be my take on it. I can definitely tell you that absolutely it's not going away, and it is catching steam in different ways, shapes, and form for sure.